Thank you, Mama Stop. That's just a sneak preview of what you can experience in this country. As part of Brand Africa Project, UNWTO and the support of Little Africa Mayo has embarked on the creation of a coffee table book showing the endless beauty that Namibia has to offer. This video that you'll see now is a sneak peek of the book coming soon, which will be embedded in the gift that the UNWTO Secretary General will offer symbolically to His Excellency Hage Geingob, President of Namibia. Wow, it's very hard not to get emotional when you see such beauty. What an incredible, phenomenal video. Thank you so much. And that coffee table book is just going to be extraordinary. What an amazing gift for us, especially outside ambassadors, to give across the world. Unbelievable. I've got to just take a moment here. Namibia has identified tourism as a key socio-economic contributor, and as such, the government has mainstreamed it into its national development agenda. The UNWTO Secretary General had the honor to present yesterday a commemorative plaque to His Excellency Hage Geingob, President of Namibia, in recognition of the President's strong commitment to fostering tourism as a key driver of sustainable and inclusive development. Right now, we have to say thank you so very, very much to the Secretary General and for all the wonderful work that you've done and for your amazing, wonderful gifts that you have given to this country and for being here. Thank you so much. Without further ado, we'd like to call on Honourable Heather Sibungu, Deputy Minister of Environment and Tourism, Namibia, to introduce the main speaker of the event. Deputy Minister.
It's not always easy to call your boss on the podium.
Deputy Minister, we have a gift that we would like the Secretary General to give to the President.
Okay.
If you don't mind standing here with me. We'd like to call on the Secretary General, please, to come on up and present the gift.
I'm back again. As I've said, it's not always easy to introduce a giant. You know, I'm slim, but that giant that I'll introduce to you now, when he comes, even when he will rise, he will intimidate all of us. He's a son of the soil, a humble soul that has a heart of the young people, a man that have open door policy. A man, he was a chairperson of the Constitution, the first draft, the Constitution of this Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct honor to invite His Excellency, Dr. Hage Godfrey Geingob, to the stage.
Thank you. You may be seated. I'm a survivor of many things, the war of liberation, and this disease, this invisible disease trying to get me. But I said no, so I can remove this. I'm immune, apparently, for a few months now. But I had to put it on there because they will be scared. I also wanted to just a little bit explain what is going on there. Our country was divided by apartheid. We had homelands policy. This tribe must be here, this tribe there. And what we are trying to do is in culture that we are divided, we are united in building this nation. So what I'm proposing is that when people have their cultural performance, they must be mixed with different ethnic groups, so that you must not deny your origin, your culture as a tribe or group. But as you are moving to build a Namibian house, as I call it, you must have unity in diversity. So what you are seeing there was, he said Namaste, but they were trying to do many things, many cultural performances from different groups. And that will be the way to build Namibian house and eventually Africa too, as one Africa. The lady who was also acting here as was the first African Miss Universe. And we crowned her here in this place here. We were still new, some of us just came back from exile. But in 1994, 93, what is it? 92. 92, you see, 2 years after independence, that she was crowned here as the first Miss Universe. Your Excellency, Zurab Olilikas, Philly, difficult name, but I'll get it. Secretary General of United Nations World Tourism Organization, Your Excellency Albert Muchanga, Commissioner for Trade and Industry, African Union Commission, my brother, the doctor, I admire him as a former scholar in Africa, the NEPAD Secretary General, my brother. You must read his books, then you will know what I'm talking about. He is a famous scholar. I admire him. So nice to see you here in Namibia. Chief Executive Officer representing National Tourism Boards, Your Excellencies from the Diplomatic Corps, if they are not here, government officials, the media, ladies and gentlemen. I was supposed to address the nation yesterday to put some measures because this disease is now really serious in Namibia. But somebody is joking that I canceled the address because I'm addressing you today, and you may be more than the number I may prescribe. So they said that's why I canceled the meeting. That's not true, but that's what they are saying. But I will be addressing them today and will announce the measures, really the district measures we have to follow. So, I can't see, It has been said that we travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us. It's a quote. Therefore, I extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished guests. I thank those of you who, despite the current situation, have traveled to come and experience life in Namibia. Namibia's tourism industry plays a critical role in the country's economy, acting as a catalyst for prosperity and growth. Thus, it is befitting that Namibia was chosen as the host for United Nations World Tourism Organization, Africa Regional Conference, themed Strengthening Brand Africa for Swift Recovery of the Tourism. I cannot see, can I please sit there? I cannot see. Yeah. Because however I do so, you must also sympathize. On the outset, I would like to first thank the Secretary General. He has been here just a few months ago, and then he's back again here with you. I would like to thank you very much. And he also brought a very challenging young man there. I had a meeting with him. Today he was very serious, but that day he made me laugh throughout. And he's going to create African city in Cape Verde. I saw the copy of the idea, very good idea. So also, thank you very much for coming here. According to the United Nations, tourism employs 1 in every 10 people on Earth and provides livelihoods to hundreds of millions more. For many developed and developing countries, the tourism sector is a major source of employment, government revenue, and foreign exchange earnings. Without this vital lifeline, many countries are experiencing a dramatic contraction in gross domestic product, and a rise in unemployment, and Namibia is no exception. Tourism, therefore, continues to be one of the sectors hardest hit by the pandemic, and the outlook remains highly uncertain. Since the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic in March 2020, the world witnessed a 96% reduction in travel as many member states decided to close their borders. These measures have had consequences beyond the tourism economy, with many other sectors that support and are supported by tourism significantly impacted. Even though the encouraging news regarding the development of COVID vaccines has boosted hopes for a recovery of tourism business and travel, challenges persist, with the sector expected to experience negative zero growth until well into 2022. Due to limited access to vaccines in the developing world, the sector faces the potential of numerous stop-start cycles for some time. This will further damage business and traveler confidence in business survival prospects. I was other day talking about vaccines, and coming from apartheid background, I was saying it's a vaccine apartheid because it is really selective. And some small countries, poorer countries like Namibia, far away, are still waiting in the line. So this vaccine must be a universal good, we are saying. But so far, it's selective, and only few countries seem to be benefiting. Notwithstanding the above, all is not gloom and doom in the tourism sector. With the limited resumption of international travel, there are some rays of hope. In Namibia, we commenced with our Tourism Revival Initiative strategy in June 2020, which culminated in the development of tourism safety and security protocol guidelines to safeguard the health of staff and clients engaged in tourism. This process was spearheaded by the Namibia Tourism Board in consultation with the private sector and reviewed by the UNWTO. During the planning stages of our Tourism Revival Initiative strategy, the tourism sector has relied on domestic tourism, which has sustained jobs and businesses in some destinations. However, domestic tourism can only partially compensate for the loss of inbound tourism. Real recovery will only be possible when international tourism returns to pre-COVID-19 levels. In this regard, the effective implementation of new UNWTO agenda for Africa 2030, the tourism for inclusive growth is more pertinent than ever. Taking this into account, it is of paramount importance that we develop coherent and comprehensive approaches to tourism policy making as a means of enabling our tourism sectors to effectively address inequalities and improve the resilience of our economies. Post-COVID-19 tourism recovery also requires global cooperation and evidence-based solutions that will enable the safe lifting of travel restrictions. In the aftermath of the pandemic, our ability to foster resilience within tourism will be key to ensuring not only the sustained growth of this sector, but also enhance preparedness for any future shocks. Therefore, we should all be cognizant of the value of strong dialogue between government, industry, and civil society in the development, implementation, and monitoring phases of comprehensive tourism policy. By pursuing a multi-sectoral approach to tourism policy development, we will be able to ensure robust security emergency planning and coordinating mechanisms, as well as better coordinated tourism-related messaging and communication between the key disaster management groups and the tourism industry. This collaborative approach should extend towards supporting micro, small and medium enterprises within the tourism sector through capacity building and innovative productive development as a means of enhancing their competitiveness within global value chains. At this juncture, it is necessary that I emphasize the importance of collectively branding our continent and establishing it as a premier destination, not only for leisure travel, but business travel as well. Thus, we need to be fully committed to advocating the brand Africa, which is one of the priorities of the UNWTO Agenda for Africa. To achieve this, we need to use our media platforms to showcase and celebrate African capabilities, innovations, and achievements. Given that tourism is a cross-cutting sector with a high impact on national and regional branding, the promotion of Brand Africa will require a unified and collaborative effort between Africa and diaspora leaders, academics, decision makers, influencers, the private and public sectors, as well as the youth, to shape and drive the African agenda as a means of enhancing the overall image of Africa. I am confident that this conference provides the ideal platform for us to further unpack these concepts so as to add value to the UNWTO strategic roadmap for Africa. In conclusion, because you already made the speech, it's only in Namibia that the young lady can speak before men and make a long speech. In conclusion, I wish to stress that although we face numerous challenges, I believe that we have the capacity to emerge from this crisis with a more robust and resilient tourism sector that will play an integral role in driving Africa's economic development. I'm a strong believer of African unity. I'm a strong Pan-Africanist, so to say. And I'm very happy that many of you decided, despite this pandemic, to travel to be here in this land of the brave. We thank all of you. I wish you came here when things were normal, then I could have given normal reception. But since it is the period of this kind of pandemic, where we have to cover ourselves, I can't even see the faces. How do I welcome you? I don't see you. But still, you came here to be with us. I believe in Africa's future. We must not give up as Africans. We must build this continent. We must, as I say, when we build Namibian house, I'm saying it's just like we are building a house. You use different bricks to build a house, old type houses, of course. And you use different bricks, I say. But when you plaster that wall, you paint it Namibian colors, you only see one wall. You are not going to anymore identify individual tribes or groups or races, but you only see that wall, and that wall will be Namibian house. Same with Africa. We are different groups, different tribes, races. But as we move on to build Africa, African continent as one continent, starting with the trade, of course. But one day we'll see Africa, just that wall. Not Namibia, not Nigeria, not Mozambique, but we say this is African continent. We'll talk as Mozambicans, but we know we are first and foremost Africans. That day is going to come. We are giving up, some of you, we think African unity is anymore a thing that we can fight for. But without unity, what are we going to be? Without holding hands as brothers and sisters, what are we going to be? That's why I'm glad that we are sitting here. You came here, ministers, very brave men and women, knowing you may die. This is not a joke. I'm burying people here. But you came here. That's a commitment. Some come from Gambia. That's a long distance. How you travel, I don't know. But here you are. Tanzania is easier. South Africa is just next door. Cape Verde, long travel. My friend there is going to build African house, African village. He showed me Namibia is going to be there too, smaller one. Yeah, you must make it bigger. He has a good idea, and we have his brother, this committed brother here, good idea to promote Africa and have an African village, or what do you call it? African, huh? Little Africa. We welcome you and thank you very much. But don't stop, huh? If money runs out, pay from your own pocket, huh? As Martin Luther King Jr. stated, and I quote, our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenges of change, unquote. Let this conference be defined by lively engagement, new ideas, and discourse that empowers Africa's tourism sector to face the challenge of change. I thank you. With this, I forgot formality. I'm supposed to open it formally, but he already did. With these words, I now declare the UNWTO Africa Regional Conference officially opened, and I wish everyone a fruitful conference and all the very best for the year ahead. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I have fond memories of traveling with you in the early days when Namibia became independent. What an amazing sense of humor you have, and a great travel companion. And we had many, many adventures together promoting Namibia internationally. I am truly honored to know you, to have you as our president. You rule with such great wisdom and guidance, and it's just an honor to be your global ambassador overseas. It's so easy to promote Namibia. Thank you so much. Now, without further ado, we're going to please call on our ambassador, Albertus Algemoop, for the vote of thanks. Ambassador.
Thank you, Michelle, Program Director. I'm here in the capacity as Namibian ambassador based in Paris, but covering Spain, and therefore also responsible for the UNWTO. And so today we will only be speaking Spanish. The President has thanked all of you, welcomed you, and expressed on behalf of the nation, how grateful we are that you've made the effort to be with us today. But I've been asked to also thank the President, because nobody else will say thanks to him. He thanks us, but nobody says thanks to him. And so it's my responsibility to say to the President that we know he's been labeled many things in the last 62 years of a dedicated public service to this republic, to the region, and to the continent. President is 79 years old, 62 of those years were dedicated to the betterment of everybody else's life across the continent. And that's a long story in public life. So I said you've been labeled many things. We know you're a Pan-Africanist. Some who appreciate a lot of the ideas you share around governance call you a scholar president. And we know that you're a revolutionary. But I think this audience would probably like to add to those labels a third, fourth, and call you the tourism diplomat for Africa. I think Zurab, on behalf of the UNWTO, underscored that fact yesterday and today. And everybody else who had spoken, the commissioner from AU, NEPAD, have said and underscored that, so I don't think I am creating a new acronym dedicated to you. So thank you for hosting us and welcoming us in this, our country. Zurab, when we came in November, it was Zurab's first travel outside of continental Europe, and he chose Africa. And he came to Namibia. It's probably just a coincidence that he chose Namibia, but as we have seen the work that's going to commence, a lot of what we see today started during that trip. When he met the President, he made an undertaking that we will return, and we will return in big numbers. When we planned this conference, we were anticipating, and we had received commitments from across the continent by tourism ministers and all role players to come. And then, of course, COVID restrictions hit, and just the week before we were supposed to come, we moved from 100 to 50, but nonetheless, he managed to keep his commitment. I was explaining to somebody in Swakopmund when we took him there and his delegation, when I said, please make sure that my brother has a safe room and a good room. They said, but he's white and you are not, how do you say brother? I said, well, it's not complicated. When a person's soul and spirit resides in Africa, he is one of us. He was born at night, that's why he's fairer complexion. I was born during the day, I was sunburned, that's the only difference. So Zurab, thanks, and your colleagues from the head office. I think we are very much appreciative of all the effort you make on behalf of Africa. And I think the ministers that are present here would bear me out when I say that the fact that your re-election was unanimous across the African continent, no one country abstained. Usually, apparently, that in diplomacy also is a vote. Everybody unanimously said, we want to give you another 4 years. I think that's testimony of all the work that you do, and we are forever grateful. So thanks for being here. The private sector partners, tomorrow and the day after, Namibia is hosting, and I have to speak, you are on our turf, so I need to also explain to you some of what is happening beyond Country Club. Namibia is hosting a public-private partnership workshop that looks at how we want to collaborate going forward in terms of the development agenda for our country, but I think it's also true across the rest of the continent. And what we have witnessed this morning, I think is again testimony that that is the only logical way that we can evolve as a continent, and it's the only way we can restart tourism swiftly across the continent. And so we thank the NIPAD representatives, AU Commission, from the public sector perspective, but Little Africa, Mayo, Enrique spoke very eloquently, and the President has underscored his vision of what he wants to do. He's undertaken that Cabo Verde is just the start. He wants to replicate this model across the rest of the continent wherever we welcome the idea. And I think you traveling with your daughter, taking the risk for 2 lives, I think speaks volumes about how you see the future, and Africa welcomes you wholeheartedly. So thank you all who have formed the nucleus of what will be the basis for public-private partnership for tourism revival across the continent. Thank you. The ministers of tourism and the delegations that have come, a lot of the SME participants in the master classes that were being offered yesterday, we also welcome you wholeheartedly, and I'm hoping that what we have experienced in those master classes is going to be the basis for what we want to do across Africa. As I've said, the intention was to host many more, but unfortunately, reality of the times dictate otherwise. So we thank you all. The foot soldiers, the men and women that behind the scene do all of the hard work, both from the Secretariat of the UNWTO in Madrid, our Ministry of Environment, Tourism, Forestry, the colleagues from the Namibia Tourism Board. When the President gave us the marching orders to welcome our guest, I think we have, you've done an exceptional job. This facility complies with all the COVID regulations, but more than that, the hospitality and the experience, sampling the experience of what is Namibia, I think is, we need to be commending you wholeheartedly, and I thank you on behalf of the Namibian government wholeheartedly for doing what we are hired to do. The hotel staff have done a tremendous job in hosting us, from the kitchens to the bedrooms. I think they've been expecting us, and we feel at home. Finally, penultimately, the program director, who, because when normally people that don't look like me say that they are Africans and they speak so passionately about their home, I think Namibia represents that eclectic mix of all of us living in this house that the President described, the Namibian house, side by side, harmoniously, and doing all we can to say welcome and come to Namibia. She's explained in her own words, she's done this job for as long as she's been youth and now entering into her senior life. So thank you for directing these proceedings very well this morning. We are grateful. And finally, it is always important that the person that moves the vote of thanks also gets thanked. And I'd like to thank myself for having done a tremendous job. Thank you all.
Ambassador, that was my job. So thank you so very, very much. You do an incredible job out there for Namibia as well in the world, and we are just so incredibly proud of you and everything that you've achieved. So thank you. And yes, I was a baby when I won Miss Universe, but that means I am wise, and I can now stand very proud next to many people who've experienced many things in life. So it's great. Great to be wiser. We now, before we stand for the African Union and Namibia National Anthem, I'd just like to inform you that our ministers and our heads of the delegations, as well as our speakers, will be joining His Excellency Hage Geingob, President of Namibia, as well as the UNWTO Secretary General, for a photograph outside. And while they do that, you are welcome to enjoy start our next session. But right now, please all rise.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. O sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Namibia, land of the brave freedom fight, we have won. Glory to their bravery, whose blood waters our freedom. We give our love and loyalty, together in unity, contrasting beautiful Namibia, Namibia, our country, beloved land of savannas, hold high the banner of liberty. Namibia, our country, Namibia, motherland, we love thee.
Thank you so much. As I mentioned, we'd now like the ministers and the heads of the delegation of various countries, as well as our UNWTO Secretary General, to please join His Excellency Hage Geingob, President of Namibia, outside for a photograph.